Welcome to the Immigrant in Law channel. If you love traveling, but you're not ready to spend half your salary on tickets, this video is for you. Today we're going to find out where the cheapest flights are in Europe, which countries have developed a real culture of low-cost airlines, and where you can fly to for the price of a cup of coffee. Fasten your seatbelts, we're taking off. First, a bit of theory. Low-cost carriers or low-cost airlines are airlines that offer the lowest ticket prices by cutting costs and eliminating the usual amenities you get on traditional flights. What does this mean in practice? You won't be offered a free sandwich or drink on board. You'll have to pay separately for your luggage, and you'll have to pay extra for your choice of seat. But if you are ready for modest conditions and traveling light, you can save a lot. The low-cost model involves maximizing flight utilization, short turnarounds between landings and departures, minimal staffing costs, and using less busy regional airports where fees and rentals are lower. That's why you'll often find that instead of the main Paris or London airport, you'll fly to a notional Beauvais or Stansted. Their main goal is to offer you a flight at the lowest possible price, sometimes for literally 5-10 euros. And this is not an exaggeration. If you book in advance and get on a promotion, such a ticket is really real. The biggest and most famous low-cost airlines in Europe are as follows. Ryanair, Irish company, Europe's largest low-cost carrier by number of passengers and flights, active throughout Eastern, Central and Southern Europe. Wizz Air, Hungarian company specializing in destinations from Eastern Europe, convenient for flights from Poland, Romania, Bulgaria, Hungary. EasyJet, British low-cost carrier focused on the Western European market, frequently flies from France, the UK, Switzerland, Italy. Vueling, Spanish budget airline with a focus on domestic and Mediterranean destinations. Transavia, Dutch and French company, operates under the wing of Air France KLM, but in terms of models is closer to a classic low-cost carrier. It is important to understand that not every European country has developed low-cost carriers in the same way. In some countries, they form the backbone of air transportation, while in others, they merely supplement state airlines. Some countries have high departure taxes, strict noise and emission standards, which makes cheap tickets impossible in principle. Not all EU countries have the same opportunities for low-cost flights. In some countries, low-cost airlines occupy a large part of the market, while in others, they have hardly taken root due to high taxes or the dominance of large national carriers. Now let's see which countries have really become reference points for those who want to fly around Europe for 10-12 euros. Poland. Poland is consistently ranked among the countries with the most developed low-cost transportation market. Due to its favorable geographical location and low operating costs, Ryanair and Wizz Air are active here. Warsaw, especially Modlin Airport, Krakow, Wrocław, Poznan and Gdańsk have become important points on the map of low-cost routes in Europe. From here, you can fly to Italy, Spain, the UK, Ireland and even Malta for only 10-12 euros. Hungary. Hungary is the home of Wizz Air, and you can feel it right away. Budapest Airport serves dozens of low-cost destinations. Thanks to the country's central location, it is convenient to fly to both the Balkan countries and Western Europe. Fares often start from 10 euro, especially if you take advantage of the Wizz Discount Club program. Romania. Romania is still underrated as a country for budget travel, but that's what makes it particularly interesting. The airports of Bucharest, Cluj-Napoca, Iași, and Timișoara are served by both Wizz Air and Ryanair. It is easy to travel from Romania to Italy, Germany, Belgium, Austria, and Greece. Many routes cost 10-15 euros for early booking. Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia, all three Baltic countries are actively attracting low-cost carriers. Vilnius, Riga, and Tallinn are consistently included in the route maps of Ryanair and Wizz Air. From Vilnius, you can fly to more than 12 destinations, including Bergamo, London, Berlin, Paris, and Oslo. Riga actively serves flights to Scandinavia, as well as to Southern Europe. Estonia, although less active in terms of flights, offers convenient flights to Germany, Italy, and the Netherlands. Slovakia and Czech Republic. Bratislava is one of the most modest but efficient budget airports in Europe. From here, you can fly to London, Dublin, Paris, Rome, and Brussels for a ridiculous amount of money. Many tourists use Bratislava as an alternative to expensive Vienna. The road between the cities takes only 1 hour. In the Czech Republic, the situation is slightly less low-cost oriented. Prague Airport works with low-cost carriers, but not as actively as in neighboring countries. Bulgaria, like Romania, remains low-profile in terms of tourist aviation, but Wizz Air and Ryanair fly from Sofia, Burgas, and Varna. These are often seasonal routes, especially in summer, but prices remain low. Bulgaria is also interesting because from here you can find cheap flights not only to Europe, but also to Turkey, Cyprus, and Israel. Not every country in Europe is free for low-cost carriers. There are regions where the cost of flights remains high, even for short destinations within the EU. The reasons vary from high taxes and airport charges to local government policies that limit the activity of low-cost airlines. Below is a list of countries where you should count on cheap tickets with reservations. Scandinavian countries, Sweden, Norway, Denmark, are considered among the most expensive in terms of domestic and international aviation. Despite the fact that Ryanair and Norwegian Air fly from here, the price tags are rarely truly budget-friendly. The main reason is high environmental fees, which these countries are gradually raising to encourage people to abandon air travel in favor of trains. Finland doesn't bring joy with low prices either. Finnair and a number of international carriers are based in Helsinki, but the presence of low-cost carriers is limited. Ticket prices remain above the EU average, and it is difficult to find an option under 30 euros. Flights to Eastern Europe are common, but most often with connections and without attractive promotions. France is a large and popular tourist country, but in terms of budget flights, it has its own peculiarities. There is a well-developed network of the national carrier Air France, and low-cost carriers have to compete in rather tough conditions. Large airports like Charles de Gaulle have high fees, so most of the cheap flights are to remote or regional airports like Beauvais or Nantes. Germany is also not among the top countries with the cheapest flights, despite its central location. After Air Berlin left the market, the low-cost sector has shrunk considerably. Some flights are offered by Eurowings, a subsidiary of Lufthansa, but this is more of a hybrid than a true low-cost carrier. Berlin, Munich, Hamburg, and Frankfurt airports remain convenient but not cheap. Austria, Belgium, and the Netherlands show a similar picture. Low-cost carriers operate in Amsterdam, Brussels, and Vienna, but the share of low-cost flights is limited, and minimum fares are not often available. Mid-price transportation is more developed here, and tickets for 10 euros are more of an exception. Finally, it is worth mentioning the EU island countries of Cyprus and Malta. Yes, you can get here by low-cost airlines from many cities, especially in high season, but flying back can be more expensive. A limited number of routes, seasonal fluctuations, and the lack of major hubs lead to the fact that a one-way ticket can cost 12 euros and a return ticket can cost 70 euros. In general, if you are planning a European trip with a focus on saving money, it makes sense to avoid starting and finishing in these countries. It is better to use them as part of your itinerary, but not as an entry or exit point, especially if your budget is limited. Even in the cheapest EU countries, airfares can vary considerably. It all depends on the season, date, destination, and a method of search. Below is a selection of practical tips to help you save money, no matter which country you are flying from. Keep track of promotions and subscriptions. Budget airlines regularly run sales. It is best to subscribe to Ryanair, Wizz Air, Vueling, and other carriers. Subscribers are often the first to get access to tickets at the lowest prices. Use flexible dates. Ticket prices can vary 2-3 times depending on the day of the week. Usually, the cheapest flights are on Tuesday, Wednesday, or Saturday. The flexible dates function in search engines allows you to see at a glance which days tickets are cheaper. Sometimes the difference between a Friday and a Saturday flight is 40-50 euros. Book in advance, but not too much early. The perfect booking period for a low-cost carrier is 1.5 to 2 months before your trip. Buying too early, 5-6 months in advance, is not always beneficial, especially if you are not sure of your plans. But you shouldn't put it off until the last minute either. Even budget tickets become expensive closer to the departure date. Do not take luggage if you can get away with hand luggage. One of the main additional costs is checked baggage. It can cost more than the ticket itself. If you are flying for 2-4 days, it is better to limit yourself to hand luggage. Different airlines have different rules on weight and dimensions, so check the allowable dimensions in advance. Compare airports nearby. Many countries have several airports within a 10 and 12 kilometers radius. For example, if you're flying to London, you can choose between Gatwick, Stansted, Luton, and even airports in neighboring cities. Flying from another city can be 30-50 euros cheaper, even including transportation to the airport. Use transit cities. Sometimes it is cheaper to take a connecting flight than a direct flight. For example, from France to Greece, a flight via Poland or Hungary may be cheaper than a direct flight. The same applies to routes from the south of Europe to the north. Check airline websites directly. Aggregators and search engines do not always show the lowest prices, and sometimes even charge an additional fee. After searching on such services, it is worth going to the website of your chosen airline and checking if it is cheaper there. This is especially true for Ryanair and Wizz Air. They often have exclusive offers that are not available on third-party platforms. Get a membership if you fly frequently. Some low-cost carriers offer paid membership with access to discounts. For example, Wizz Discount Club gives a discount of 5 to 10 euros per ticket and is valid for several passengers at the same time. If you fly at least 3-4 times a year, the card already pays for itself. Be careful with surcharges. The price of a ticket may seem very attractive until you get to the final stage of the purchase. Often there are hidden fees in the shopping cart for seat selection, priority boarding, printing the boarding pass at the airport. Always read the fine print and remove unnecessary services manually. Don't be afraid to stay overnight at the airport. It's not for everyone, but if you really want to save money, an overnight stay at the airport between flights can be a reasonable compromise. Many European airports are equipped with waiting areas with power outlets, free Wi-Fi, and even comfortable chairs. Some EU countries have become a kind of stopping point for those who travel around Europe on a minimum budget. These countries have a lot of low-cost routes, convenient transfer infrastructure, and democratic prices for accommodation and food. If you are planning a complex route with several destinations, it makes sense to use one of these countries as a base or an intermediate point. Poland is one of Europe's main logistics centers in the budget segment. Thanks to a large number of low-cost flights from Warsaw, Krakow, Katowice, and Gdansk, the country is conveniently used as an entry point to the EU. This is especially relevant for travelers from countries outside Schengen who need cheap tickets and a simple visa. Hungary has also long ago turned into a budget hub. Budapest Airport serves destinations, including not only European capitals, but also rarer routes to Albania, Iceland, Georgia, and Israel. Wizz Air, based in Hungary, allows to build complex routes with connections in Budapest. Romania is another underrated but very promising hub. Airports in Bucharest and Cluj-Napoca offer flights to dozens of cities at low prices. If you are flying, for example, from the Caucasus, the Middle East, or the Balkans, Romania can be your bridge to the EU. Lithuania and Latvia are also becoming increasingly popular transit points. From Vilnius and Riga, it is easy and cheap to fly to Scandinavia, Germany, the UK, and Southern Europe. Tickets from here are often cheaper than from Western European capitals, even when transfer and food costs are taken into account. The Czech Republic and Slovakia are not as busy as Poland or Hungary, but Prague and Bratislava are suitable for those who don't like big airports and prefer quiet logistics. Bratislava is especially convenient if you are flying to Austria. Vienna is only 60 kilometers away. Spain and Italy also play the role of regional hubs, especially in the southern and western parts of the EU. Cities such as Milan, Bologna, Barcelona, and Alicante are home to several low-cost carriers, and you can find surprisingly cheap flights even in high season. These countries are good because they combine an extensive network of flights with tourist appeal. You can combine a connection with a short vacation. Using these countries as stopovers gives you the freedom to plan itineraries not found in classic tours. Instead of the standard round trip, you can build chains. Fly to Budapest, spend a couple of days there, fly to Porto for 15 euros, and from Porto to Brussels or Milan for the same amount. This opens up a whole different scale of travel, affordable and flexible. Low-cost flights within the EU are not only a convenient way to save money, but also a whole culture of travel that is not suitable for everyone, but brings great benefits for certain categories of people. Low-cost airlines have become part of everyday logistics for millions of Europeans and visitors. Who benefits particularly from this model of travel? Students and young travelers use low-cost carriers for short weekend trips, vacations, or internships. A ticket for 10–15 euros allows you to fly to another country for a couple of days on a modest budget. Digital nomads and freelancers often choose countries like Poland, Hungary, Romania, or Lithuania, not only because of cheap rent, but also because of the developed system of budget flights. This allows for a change of scenery at any time, a short working vacation in another country, or a spontaneous flight to a conference, meeting, or event, without disrupting the schedule or losing income. Families with children are also increasingly switching to low-cost carriers. Yes, such flights are less comfortable, but if you plan your trip in advance and avoid peak dates, you can save significantly on tickets even for the whole family. Small businesses, especially in the service sector, also use low-cost flights. Flying to the capital of a neighboring country to meet a client, a supplier, or to a trade fair is no longer a problem if you have Ryanair or Wizz Air with a ticket for 12 euros. This opens up new markets and opportunities even for smaller companies. And finally, ordinary tourists, those who are not tied to fixed dates and love spontaneous trips. If you are ready to plan a route from the reverse, Europe through low-cost carriers reveals itself from a new side. It is no longer an expensive continent, but a network of affordable destinations, between which you can travel literally for the price of a lunch. The low-cost model is not perfect. It is not for those who appreciate quiet, spaciousness, and service. But if the main thing for you is to get from point A to point B quickly and cheaply, it works fine, especially when you know which countries and airports to start your journey from. As you can see, cheap flights across Europe are not a myth or a marketing ploy, but a reality if you know where to look. Poland, Hungary, Romania, and the Baltic countries are not only cultural and tourist destinations, but also real strongholds of budget aviation. But in Scandinavia, France, or the Netherlands, it will be more difficult to save on tickets. You have learned which countries have become hubs for cheap travel, which routes are the most profitable, how to look for cheap tickets, and who most often uses low-cost airlines. Even with a limited budget, traveling around Europe is now possible. The main thing is to be flexible, plan ahead, and not be afraid to discover new cities. And if you are just planning to immigrate, leave a request for a free consultation with immigrant-in-law lawyers. We will choose the best relocation strategy for you, prepare all the necessary documents, explain in detail the nuances of the law, and answer all your questions. We will analyze your case, your goals, your situation without templates. Want to learn more or start the process today? Contact us. All contacts are listed in the description below this video. We're here to help you take a confident step toward a new life. Give us a like, subscribe to the channel, and ask your questions in the comments. I will be happy to answer them. Discover a world of opportunities with Immigrant in Law.